The political crisis has more to do than just national security ideas or leadership styles. A big part of it has to do with a bill before the Knesset that's divided both the leadership and the country. Professor Abraham Diskin helped draft the legislation. He says the law is simple.
It's a declaratory law that talks about the fact that Israel is a Jewish nation, that a flag is the flag that we already have. The anthem is the same anthem.
The purpose of the law is to defend things that already exist. It doesn't create a single new policy.
Yoram Hazony, president of the Herzl Institute, says with the current state of the Middle East, Israel needs to maintain its Jewish nature, while at the same time being a robust democracy.
This is a law that seeks to defend the existing Jewish school system, the law of return, the rights of the Israeli government to employ Israeli armed forces for the sake of the defense of Jewish people everywhere in the world rather than only for Israeli citizens. That's not a change in the status quo, that's defending the status quo.
Hazony and Diskin say the law preserves the individual rights of all Israelis, regardless of race or religion. Yet given the current political crisis, it's unlikely the law will be voted on soon. Early elections seem more likely. If so, recent polls suggest Benjamin Netanyahu would return as prime minister for a fourth term. Joining me to talk more about the Jewish state law, the early elections, and the current situation is Julie Stahl. Julie, what role did the legislation have in bringing about the new elections?
You know, Chris, it was probably more like the straw that broke the camel's back. It wasn't certainly the only issue that brought about elections, but it was probably the last straw for some of the parties. The Likud party looks like it would definitely come out the winner, but the winner will still have to work with other parties to get a majority, and that's where the Israeli political system gets a little bit sticky, a little complicated. He'll have to make deals with other parties. Looks like the country will go more towards the right.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. The polls are the country shifting to the right, so they'll have Likud, which is a right or conservative party, and then Yisrael Beitenu, and not to get into too many of the politics, but generally, do you sense the country heading that direction?
It seems that way. It seems like one of the issues that was always a left-right issue was about the peace talks, and I think Israelis are pretty much fed up with the whole idea of quote-unquote peace talks with the Palestinians that really have yielded no fruit. We've reported that there's another outbreak of violence now. You know, they've had a few wars with various factions in Gaza, and I think Israelis are pretty much tired of the whole thing.
We're here with the Temple Mount in the background. You were there just yesterday. What role is the issue, the controversy over the Temple Mount having to do with the current situation?
It's definitely the center of attention. The Palestinians are saying that the Israelis are trying to permit Jewish prayer on the Temple Mount, and they're trying to take over the Temple Mount. It's simply not true. Prime Minister Netanyahu has said many times that that Israel has no desire to change the status quo, which does not allow any other religion except Muslims to pray up there. Yesterday, when I was up there were different groups of people who reportedly they're paid by Hamas, and just screaming at visitors up there that Allah is great. And it's a little bit annoying.
But there is a movement, you've done a story on this, the Haliba movement, which wants to allow Jews or non-Muslims, that would include Christians, to be able to pray up there on the Temple Mount. Do you see that movement increasing?
It's definitely increasing. I think just Israelis, that's part of the whole thing. They realize it's their heritage. That Temple Mount, that's where their temples were. They want to pray up there. They want the right to pray up there. I don't know how many Israelis would even actually go up there and pray. They certainly don't want to take over the mosques. One of the things is that when Orthodox Jews go up there, first of all, they have to be escorted by policemen. They're not allowed to take prayer books up there. And they only walk around the perimeter. They don't even come near the mosques or even the center compound because they don't want to defile the holy place.
And I know they see this much as a human rights issue, that this is a holy place for the Jewish people. They should have the right to pray up there. And I'm sure we're going to see more. That's going to be more and more the center of controversy as time goes on. Well, Julie, thank you.